Hey guys, Luie here again. Today I'm going to bring you a tier list I've made for PvP oriented only. No PvE content since most of it's just situational. I stick to PvP, that's my main focus anyways on the channel. You can find other people who've done PvE related content, but not me. I may do some once in a while just to show you, but other than that, it's not really my main focus on the channel, since I am PvP oriented. Bakuzan, I mean, people that made up early on with Bomb Core, he was extremely strong in LC and PvP, but honestly now he's pretty much the worst SSR plus you can have on your team. I mean, he's better than most units, but he overall isn't the best to pick. There are other characters that do a way better job in utility compared to him, since his build is mainly focused as a DPS or sub DPS. But for him, he's not worth the investment at all. I mean, if you can use him as a filler, that is nice if you don't have any other character, but other than that, he's pretty much a low pick. He almost brings no value. I mean, he revives the next round, but other than that, there's not much. I mean, you can benefit a little from cruel tactics, but other than that, no. CK, I mean, his value has dropped a bit. It's no longer what it used to be in Bomb Core or in early Geryu Core as well, where it used to last till like 10 rounds. But now it's just lower due to Atomic Samurai. And now with the introduction of Gouketsu and Garo, them having breakthrough, it just makes his value cut down even worse, since everybody's investing into Gouketsu and pretty much stripping any sack you have from CK. I mean, he's still viable, but he's not going to be your most built unit. Then there's Metal Bat. Oh, a unit that's fallen from grace. The PvE god. It was momentarily the PvP god, but due to Geryu Core, his value has dropped due to him a resurrection. He only follows up on units that have the lowest HP, and most of the time it's usually units that are in the unyielding shield, my bad. Even with his ult, it's still semi-viable, but most of the time he's still just gonna follow up on the people that are in the unyielding state, or he hits somebody that's too tanky for him to even deal any damage. Like, you need a strong Metal Bat to leave a dent now. But even then, he has not much value besides being a PHOENIXMAN, basically, where he just collapses, and so no unit can damage that one column, being either Gouketsu, Atomic, or any other win condition unit. But other than that, these values dropped off. And Geryu is needed for PvP. He is a core, of course. The core is what's the most valuable here, not the unit itself. I mean, he brings some value with reducing the attack of the enemies. If it's not limit broken, it will just be the heroes, but if it's limit broken, it'll be villains. Then if you have keepsake, it'll be up to 2 rounds. It's very nice to have, but most of the time you don't really need it. You can live without it, but he does give berserk, specialized berserk to all your allies, which does help a lot if you have a well-built Geryu, but most of the people that are running Geryu don't really, so he's not really needed to be highly invested. It's just a core. Level of core is 4 is what matters most. An Atomic, short for that. Right. Atomic is a main carry. You need him. If you don't have him, you pretty much lose half the time, unless the person that you're fighting isn't competent in the game. But other than that, highly unlikely to win against an Atomic user, due to the fact that Atomic reduces unyielding actions by two rounds, or 2 actions. He does it 4 times if he follows up on the same column, and also if you have unyielding nerf or unyielding enhancement, it stacks. And as well, he reduces HP, which counters CK and slightly counters Gouketsu, but it's not that big compared to CK's passive, how it's built. Gouketsu's passive is way more built to us. It was funny to see that many people were confused on Gouketsu's passive, since they thought it'd be like CK's, but not at all. Also with Awaken 2, he's more valuable, with him reducing the attack of the opponent by 40%, which is extremely strong if you're just running limit broken Geryu, since he increases 1 action for his allies if he has the keepsake. Hellfire, I mean, if you don't have any good units, he does something, but overall, he's not the best. I don't even, maybe not even B tier. C tier is not really, like, maybe D tier, like your last pick. If you don't have any good LSSRs or SRs, he's pretty much not, he doesn't do much anymore since his era ended so quickly due to the fact that him and DK were basically pay to win characters. There's almost no reason to get him. I mean, you can get it for figures, but other than that, he does nothing much. Like maybe later on with DSK Plus, he might have some usability, but even then, highly doubt it. And there's AVM. It's funny to see him that he's made a slight comeback. He used to be my best unit, but he's only semi-meta due to the fact that he can give himself 2 unyielding states, which is extremely strong right now. Like, if you can give yourself a buffer between the enemy's main DPS and your main DPS, it can give you a slightly more edge since your guy won't be getting hit. Maybe just be 1 round extra. But other than that, it's not much. AVM is just there to body block. Doesn't do anything else. Sonic, he's falling through grace. Too many meta units coming out. His viability is pretty much gone. I mean, he does his job as a speedster. Other than that, he has no much use. He's pretty much wasted if you run him, since he consumes 2 energy. And the newer speedsters at the moment do not consume energy. So having him in your lineup is going to hurt you drastically. Unless you have, if you're running Chance, it gives you a bigger edge since you're going to be gaining 1 energy more, which if you're running with another character that gives you energy will help you a lot. But if you're not, he's pretty much wasted. He's a wasted unit to have on your team. He's alright to have. He gives you, your speed order becomes better. But other than that, many people have stopped using him, and they've done wonders using that sack elsewhere. Then there's Gale Wind, the most annoying unit in the game. I'm glad he's gone. He's so damn annoying. Just because he can stun 3 times, and if you have formal, it's 4. Oh. But since Gouketsu is out and Garou, his usability has dropped drastically. Like, he's still viable if you don't have, if your enemy doesn't have Gouketsu, but if they do, you can still semi counter Gouketsu. But if he's 5 PE, then he's pretty much irrelevant. The only way you can bring some usability to Gale Wind if you're faster than the opponent, since they only have to hope that you get 3 cruel stuns at the beginning. Since Gouketsu will remove the 3 cruel stuns, and you have 3 more, possibly. Unless they're running Metal Bat, which reduces it to a 50-50. It's a lot of RNG based. Like, Gale Wind is still viable, but it's just very situational. And there's Bomb. There's only, I mean, he could be semi-meta, but not really. Not anymore. We're so late into the game that running his core is very unoptimal. There's been few people that have been beating Geryu core like Graves / Fritzy. If you guys saw my account review on him, check it out. It's extremely wild to see how far he progressed during that time. Then there's Power On versus Justin. It's insane. I'll pull up the image right here for y'all to see. It's an insane fight, seeing how Bomb Core is semi-still viable, but not really. It comes down to situation. Then also, if you want to run Bomb as a filler unit for your grapplers, he's okay. But if he's not limit broken, he's pretty much because he's only going to do up to what, 3 or 2 units. But if he's limit broken, he does the whole team, which gives him agility, which reduces the damage they receive, which is alright. I mean, it's something. It's mainly utility, but other than that, he has no value anymore. Waste of energy as well. And then there's Suiryu. I mean, only thing he brings is utility. I mean, he would have been higher early on with CK and Metal Bat being the main units, but now that we're this far into the meta, he's pretty much falling off. Like, you can run him still if you like. He'll give you a bit of a boost, but there are better units that do a better job compared to him, since all his purpose is just to boost charge damage. Then there's Amai. Not much. He's the worst unit to use out of all the grapplers currently. I mean, it gives you speed boost and tenacity, but the speed boost is pretty much negated now by Flashy Flash. Along with him being the slowest speedster, you're pretty much guaranteed to be last anyway. He brings nothing to the table. I mean, he brings some HP reduction, but that's not going to do much. He's taking up a slot that could be used for somebody else more viable and brings more utility compared to him. His tenacity is based upon his HP, which is going to be low because nobody's going to invest into him. He's a uninvested unit who takes up space and is unneeded. DK, I mean, you could use him. It's possible to use him if you don't have the correct characters, since he reduces ult damage for your whole team for 2 rounds, which is extremely strong. Honestly, that's all his purpose, is just to reduce ult damage. It's strong, but it's kind of niche. It's kind of niche at the same time, since you may have better characters and you'll see in your own fights what you need and what you're lacking. He's just there for his passive. His ult doesn't matter. His meta is over, or it never even started to begin with. RMG, semi-meta. She's there for the filler as an Esper. The only real utility you get from her, you don't really want to ult with her anymore. Her ult is pretty much doo-doo. But the utility you get from her is her follow-ups, which are strong if you still have her semi-built. 5p would be even stronger, but depending on your situation, you probably reverted her 5p and gave it to somebody else, or if you don't have many units, you still have her 5p, which is still nice to have. I mean, it gives you the killing blow, but it's also terrible at the same time, since if it's an AoE attacker on your team, she will just target the person in an unyielding state, which doesn't benefit you at all. But if it's a single target unit that you're using, then it'll help you a lot if the unit isn't in an unyielding state yet. But she could do the finishing killing blow, which helps a bit, but other than that, not much from her. And then ATT filler. She does nothing. Pretty much useless. Even probably last pick would be her the best thing. She does nothing. I guess on Cruel she does her DLT, but she's not built anymore. I mean, if you use her for PvE, then maybe. But other than that, she brings nothing to the table. She consumes energy, wasting a possible energy used on somebody higher and better. Even then, she's just there to body block. Even if you have her talent 3 open and already maxed out, she has the chance of unyielding, but also does RMG. RNG does better. The worst one out of the group, honestly. PHOENIXMAN. I mean, higher utility compared to AVM, due to the fact that he has more unyielding states, and he makes his column unable to be attacked, which is strong now, since you're trying to protect your main DPS from their enemies' main DPS as well, which is a big issue in the game. But with Gouketsu, it's kind of but that's a different play. It's mainly in what tier you stand. If you're a mid player, low player, the 2% or the 1%, it's very situational where he can thrive in. It's not many people can use them. You'll have to do testing and see. And then Geryu, I mean, he does the job. Since he reduces HP on his ults, then if he does a basic attack, the highest attack unit does their basic attack as well. And as well as increasing the HP of all allies. Increases it a lot more for villains, but does not stack with CK or Gouketsu. That's a downside. It does make your units a lot more tankier than usual, but it only lasts for like 2 turns, I believe. It's not very good later on. I mean, he's a decent filler, but there are still units better than him. Fistfight Djinn. It's a funny thing. Him being an SR and being a high up. I mean, he brings ult damage reduction and also gives you 1 energy, which is strong. Having the energy advantage and allowing you to ult 1 more extra time, it is extremely strong in this meta. Due to the fact that we have King, who reduces energy by fear, then we have Flashy Flash with Keepsake, who steals 3 energy and does not stack with Kings, but along with Dog, who steals 3 energy as well if you have Keepsake or 2, is extremely strong in this meta. Those units counter you a bit, but if with Fistfight Djinn, he gives you a little bit of ability to survive the battle a bit more longer. He's a decent unit. Then there's CE plus. AoE units can be used, but they have to be highly invested into. A little better than any SSRs overall, due to him having his dog, which is nice at A1, but at A2 it becomes stronger. But now with unyielding shields, it makes unyielding state. Jeez, sorry. It makes it less viable since dogs target unit with the least HP. But also, if you have Keepsake with CE, you reduce HP by 30%, which is strong. And also, he has a decent high attack for his AoE ult, which reduce Gouketsu scrolls by a lot, but the negative side is that there's too many units to invest, and it's highly unlikely you have an invested CE plus. There are only a few players who can do it, not many at all. Now you could try to do it, but it wouldn't be viable. These are only specifically for people who have a lot of sacks and a decent amount of purple sacks as well. But other than that, he's alright. He's fallen from grace. He used to be a goat. Many people hate him, but he will come back later on with Suiryu, since it's a permanent buff where he can't get internal injury or any form of DLT. It's only afflicted by units who can bypass it in their ults or in their passives. None of that. He's decent. He'll come back later. Boros, he's there for filler. Overall, the best filler for an Esper right now, due to him having his minions. Also, his ult is extremely strong if you have him built. But his ult, just for Keepsake, is strong still, but not the best. He's not there as an attacker or a sub DPS anymore. He's just there for his utility that he provides with the minions that are based off his attack. So you want him decently built, because you can run them alongside with Gouketsu, but with that, it'll take whoever is higher in their HP or attack first. Like if Boros' minions are stronger than Gouketsu's minions, then they'll absorb the damage first. Vice versa. On that, he's still viable, but not very needed anymore. Like, if you have him, you can use him. King, meta. You need him for PvP. If you don't have him, you're pretty much losing the battle, since you're slower and getting energy reduced, and also you're facing his drones, which make him pretty tanky as a unit, alongside a mini DPS, because his drones do hit hard if your king is decently built, which most people's kings aren't. But even then, if you have a king, those drones still pack a punch, since they take in the crit that he has on his buff gear along with damage rate as well, which boosts the drones, which is nice. But overall, he's just there to speed his bro and reduce the energy of the enemy, which is still strong even right now with Flashy Flash. Mom, I would say PvP needed, but not many people can replicate what is possible with him. Like, he's still meta, but the amount of investments, not even meta. I want to say, like, here, realistically, he's better than CE as an AoE attacker, but this would be the best bet. He's still meta, but not really meta, since there's only a few people who can even try to use him. Like, if you try to use him, you can semi-optimally have him at a good state, but honestly, he requires too much resources and too much buff gears and sacks and sigils. You pretty much need everything to make him a decent unit, and even then, he's still not the best. His only viability is that he's extremely strong against Gouketsu users, since he provides internal injury on maybe everybody, but if you have hit, it's a higher chance, and it's based upon his attack, which is strong if you haven't built. Then alongside on his Awaken passive, he gets his brother Bomb, who follows up and does either 150% of his attack or 180, hitting everybody as an AoE. But if you do a basic, he'll just follow up and do a basic as well, which is alright, but it's extremely strong unit, but it's only viable for very few players. Even then, nobody should really be investing into him. He's really good, but it needs a lot of resources. Like, if you check out my short that I made, you can see what a highly invested bomb Fang can do. Even then, that costs a lot of resources. That costs basically all his gears are 5p. He's not 5p himself, but it doesn't matter since I'm running Flashy Flash, who gives him 50% more, well, 10% more evasion since he's not 5p. And then alongside having 3 piercing sigils, level 7s, then full hearts. But sadly, he's running Ninja Set, but not during that time. He's not running Ninja Set. He was running DK Set, but now he's running Ninja Set. You guys will see in my stream how he performs. Hopefully, Luigi takes out Mass X. Oh yeah, boy. Hey man, if Luigi takes out Mass X, solidifies me as the best player around, showing you that I can make a 0 into 100. But enough of me glazing myself. Let's get back to the video. Garo, he has higher usability to CK and everybody else, since he does breakthrough, and on his follow-ups he does breakthrough as well, which is strong. But at this current meta, he's not really needed due to the fact he's very underwhelming at the moment. Like, his breakthrough is nice to have, it does counter you a bit, but you need a decent amount invested into him. But I'm not sure if I'll value that over Atomic and next CK Gouketsu, who provides crows. Like, he'll be your third unit to use. Like, he'll be a sub DPS. Gouketsu be a main along with Atomic. He does provide some usability with Awaken 2, providing guard to units who come out of the unyielding state. Even then, the guard isn't much if you don't have enough attack on your Garo. Like, he has some utility. Due to him getting rushed, he has no value. Then also with his keepsake coming out so late, it's almost nearing the next month, it makes his usability even less. Since if we get GG plus, he'll come back, but he won't be ulting anymore, since it'd be a waste for him to ult. Even now, his ult without keepsake is underwhelming, and I doubt that with keepsake he'll do much more. I mean, it's a decent jump to 950% to 1200%. It's a decent leap, but I doubt it'd make much difference, since at the moment, yeah, of course, you can't one-shot CK since he has no keepsake, but Gouketsu is very underwhelming unit. He's nice to have, but requires a lot of resources to even try to pull him off. And Gouketsu, higher than Atomic, just because of breakthrough, but breakthrough has been buggy with Gouketsu for some reason. I don't know why. Like, sometimes he does it on the back row unit on the column, or sometimes he doesn't do it at all. and does it on a cruel follow-up or on a burst follow-up, which is kind of funky. Quite annoying though, since that could win you the game or not, but you can't really tell since it's broken. I mean, if it wasn't broken, then you would see the big leap it does, but only that, he's there for his minion absorption. That's based on his HP. Then if you have keepsake, he make it to a DPS or sub DPS depending how you want to build him, or you can just make him into a tank and not pull his keepsake, which I doubt many did, but I don't know. There's many people that make weird decisions. That's how the game goes. Flashy Flash. Oh wait, let me put this here. Yeah, right. He's a speedster. He's fucking cracked though, just because of his evasion. He gives himself 70%. Then if he's awakened to, gives ally 50%. But it doesn't matter. That's not his real. That's not the real thing that makes him shine. It is his keepsake or his passive. I mean, my bad. Either one. Both of them at the same time. He's a speedster. He speeds himself up with keepsake and without. Then with his passive, he removes normal acceleration. So he basically counters King, Sonic, and Amai, and as well as Movement Rider if you use them. Other than that, he counters everybody. That's a big thing, because that fucks up your speed and as well as who gets to ult and who doesn't. So if you don't have Flashy Flash, you pretty much have to take that into account and see your speed order. Other than that, still big. And there's Dog. Ranks higher than Fistfight Djinn and Boros, due to the fact that he provides energy to his team alongside sealing energy, either 2 or 3, depending if you have keepsake. Then also boosts the HP of an ally by 5 turns by 30%, then 33, and 10 turns with KP. Overall, he is a very strong unit that's still used. The best way to use him is to have Cruel Hero, since you're early on going to be sealing 3 energy. But other than that, he's just there for utility, basically. So, not really much sack investment, just a little bit just for his keepsake. Other than that, this is a done deal. This is personally what I think at the moment every unit stands. I mean, Flashy Fire has no keepsake, so he just steals 1 energy, but Radiant keepsake this week, so doesn't matter. He brings him back up. He would be here in meta, but he's fine where he's at. Like, he's a good unit. King lost some of his usability, but he's still strong against non-King users and non-Flashy Flash Plus users. Hello guys, this is my Awaken 2 tier list. Here I have Bakuzan at the very bottom at D. You don't really need his Awaken 2. Even at D tier, still compliment. I mean, I'll put him even less if possible, but not many SSR pluses that are out. Pretty much the worst one. Even at Awaken 1, he doesn't do much. He revives back in the next round by 70% of HP and grants himself tenacity by 50% of his HP. But with Awaken 2, it's just 20% more of tenacity gets based on his HP. Very minuscule buff, not very big at all. Then there's Geryu. All he does is provide himself with energy. That's all he does. That's pretty much what happens with any core units. They just give themselves more energy just by 1. Awaken 2 is 1 more. Then Awaken 3 is 2 more energy. It's decent, but not the best. Then Awaken 1, Silverfang, doesn't do much. It's still decently strong. It only gives it a bit more of an edge. It's a bit more, not that big of a notice. Bangs follow up when he ults. Strikes all enemies by 180% attack of Silverfang. Then if you have an Awaken to 210%, then if they have internal injury, they reduce their energy gauge by 250, which is it's not that much. Like, I mean, it cuts them from energy from them getting the next turn, but other than that, it's not a big deal. And with CE, it's not that big. Even now, it's some usability, but not really. Like, he's fallen from grace a lot. All he gets is an extra dog, basically. There's not much to it. It's just an extra dog. It's pretty simple for a unit that came out very recently. And there's Garou. I mean, Garou's Awaken 2. You can level down, honestly. Since his Awaken 1 just grants him 2 unyielding chances, which heal him by 50% of his HP. Then every time he consumes an unyielding effect, he grants himself Specialized Guard equal to 800% of his attack, which is decent, I'd say. But then with an Awaken 2, it's pretty big, but I don't feel like you really need it at all. Like, it gives you a better survivability, which he needs as a unit, but he's an Awaken Hero unit, and right now his usability has dropped off a lot. Like, all you're getting from Awaken 2 is that after any ally character comes in an unyielding or specialized unyielding state, they gain Specialized Guard equal to 600% of Garou's attack up to 3 times in total, which is quite strong if you have highly invested Garou. But due to how he came out, it's not much. Like, you need a lot of investment to really make that useful. But even then, it's not going to be your highly invested unit. He's going to be a sub DPS, or even if you don't have many sacks to use, he'll be like your least built unit. Since you're going to be building Atomic and Gouketsu, then you're having fully sacked out speed gear for your speedster. It's not much. The same thing applies to Boros. I mean, I feel like, no, wait, this is better. Boros, all he's there to is absorb damage with his minions, who benefit from having Boros having high attack. But other than that, not much. He's fallen off from grace. Pretty much said and done. He's there to absorb, not else. Then Metal Bat is a very strong unit still, but not very strong in PvP anymore. Since it's Awaken 1, it triggers regeneration. I mean, after every fatal attack, he recovers HP. He can revive up to 3 times, and after reviving, triggers consecutive follow-ups against one enemy at Awaken 1, which is pretty weak compared to his Awaken 2, which is very strong. He revives 1 more extra turn and recovers 20% more HP. But instead of 1 unit follow-up, he does 3, which is strong. It is highly strong, but in this meta, it's not really the best. Then there's King Awaken 2. I mean, all he does is just get 1 extra drone, but even then, his Awaken 2 passives, and that's what you seek. It's mainly that you can get growths, alongside with Flashy Flash. Like, Awaken 2 isn't really needed. All it gives is an ally 50% more evasion, which is strong, but overall it's not really needed, as well as recover HP, 150% attack up to 4 times per turn, which is decent, but Flashy Flash is not going to be built. He's just there for his 2 speed growths. That's it. Nothing much to it. But Gouketsu, he is a very strong unit at the moment. Highly sought after. Since at Awaken 1, his crows inherit 400% of Gouketsu's HP, and they share the rolls damage taken by 85%, a bit higher than Boros's by 5% more, which is quite nice. But the one good thing that gives them a bit more edge and slightly more valuable is that they deal bonus damage to enemies that are not in the unyielding state, and also if they get unyielded, it's like a mini Atomic Samurai ult where they reduce their action by 2, which is strong. It is highly strong since it affects everybody. It affects everybody that's on the enemy team that's still alive. It does not affect only the 3 people That's an extremely strong passive, Awaken passive. Like, it's meta at the moment. Like, if you don't have it, it's kind of hurting you more. Then the same thing can be said at Awaken 2. It gives you one more crow, so you're pretty much getting an atomic ult and a follow-up with these 2 crows. It's insane to have them, but if you don't just have Awaken 1, it's still strong in itself. Due to getting breakthrough on Gouketsu, and also if you have them highly invested. Atomic Samurai Awaken 2 is strong. At Awaken 1, he reduces the the HP of the enemy by 50% based upon his attack, which is 600%, which prevents them from gaining HP for that turn, and also triggers unyielding and specialized unyielding on the enemy. Launches a follow-up 80% of his attack to a random target, but the one flaw in this, it needs to be an enemy that's defeated. If the enemy isn't defeated, he will not follow up. But on Awaken 2, which is strong, gives him a bigger edge, he will permanently reduce attack by 40% of the target. Then after action, so it doesn't even matter if he does a basic, he'll always ult with 100%, 20% of his attack to a random target, which is strong. Like, even with later on with GG silencing him, he'll still be able to take advantage of his Awaken 2, since he'll be reducing the attack permanently. But the permanent attack does not apply on a follow-up. It only works on the first ult. So if he does a basic, he only affects 1 unit. If he does an ult, he affects 2 units. So it's a slip aside with his Awaken 2. It's still strong later on, but it's not as valuable. At the moment, it's highly valuable to have this. If you don't have this, you're pretty much losing most of the time, even against other Atomic Samurai users. Then there's CK. Like, his usability has skyrocketed. Just because he can revive. He's there to pretty much reflect damage and be a tanky wall, but him getting attacked by Atomic reduces his usability a lot, since it cuts his HP. I mean, him getting more HP is nice, but him being able to revive the next turn gives you a bit more survivability. Also, it kills them too, since they're gonna be reflecting the damage that they put upon the CK. Like, CK's Awaken 2 passive is highly usable now. Back then it was kind of but now it's extremely nice to have, since it's no longer CK versus CK or 10 rounds, whatever. Back then it was kind of shit, but now it's extremely strong. Even with an Atomic countering him, still set off through. Here you can see we have keepsakes. I mean, keepsakes are pretty much there. I mean, King now is going to be a support unit. All he's going to do is there to heal, then as well as seal 3 energy for a turn. You could pretty much run without keepsake if you would like to, but keepsake is nice. It gives him a bit more edge. Atomic, you want his keepsake. It is very needed because it boosts his attack to 750%, and as well gives your allies 1 more unyielding action, which is strong against other units that aren't running breakthrough. So it pretty much makes you near invincible. Then Gouketsu, it's strong. He buffs himself by 30% crit rate and a crit damage, and as well increases the damage dealt to 100%, 180% of attack, and 54% of max HP, which it's strong if you have him as a DPS. Then Flashy Flash, at the moment, it's just there for speeding up, since he speeds up with ult, and also he'll seal energy. Instead of 1, it'll be 3 now. which is strong compared to what he's at. Then he speeds up his allies, which is only a column, from 90% to, with keepsake, 95, 5% more. Still strong. You can run without, but it's highly unoptimal to skip his keepsake. You need his keepsake for his 5p, which boosts speed again, be the main deal in this meta. Speed is key. Then Gale Wind's keepsake is pretty basic. Without keepsake, he only stuns twice, or 3 with formal. Then with keepsake, it's 3 people. Then with formal, it's 4. Then with Seeky's keepsake, it's quite decent. I mean, he deals damage to 35% of his max HP. Then he triggers out of control with launches a follow-up on enemies, dealing 100% damage in effect of ult skill. Costs no energy, up to 2 times per turn. Then with keepsake, he deals 45% of his max HP and heals himself by 35% of his max HP as well. It is a very strong thing. It gives on the edge a bit more, and his survivability increases a lot as well. Then with Garo's keepsake, it's kind of I mean, it strikes a target with 5 consecutive strikes, deals 950 with no keepsake. That's it. Then also does breakthrough, but you need crits. But with keepsake, it makes him much better, since it increases from 950 to 1200 attack, and also no longer needing the condition to crit, as well as restoring HP by 50% of max HP, which Garou is a very squishy unit. That is very needed for his kit to become more viable. And with Dog is nice to have, since instead of sealing 2 energy, then HP doesn't really matter since he's not a DPS. He increases it to 3 seals instead. Strong. Then you see Fang's ults. It's strong, but you can live without, honestly, since it's a big jump, but not that big. He does 300% of his attack, and he inflicts internal injury to 3 random targets, which inherit 200% of Silverfang's attack, which is still strong to have, but with keepsake, it gives that bit of a juice. Instead of 300%, it does 350%, and also gives internal injury to everyone, and as well as the internal injury damage is inherited by 250% of Silverfang's ult. It is strong. Don't get me wrong on that. Then CE's, it's kind of basic. I mean, increases his attack, his AoE by who's pretty much similar to Silverfang with no keepsake, but attacks all with 5 combo strikes, dealing 300% of his attack with keepsake, and 10% more HP reduction, which is decent. I mean, now this late into the game, it's quite pitiful. I mean, you can run it. It doesn't cost that many sacks, but I don't know. Do you really need it? Not really. And with Metal Bat, his usability's, I know I've been saying this a lot, his usability's gone down. Not very sought after anymore. At Awaken 1, launches combo follow-ups, the main target, then 2 enemies with the lowest HP. Then when there are less than 2 enemies will suffer combo attacks. Each target will take a combo attack, dealing 120% of his attack, then grants charge damage equal to 380% of his attack, still strong without keepsake. Then with keepsake, he does 150% of his attack, then grants 420% of attack as charge damage. Then instead of 2 units on the follow-up besides the main target, he'll do 1 more extra. And as well, he heals himself by 12% of his max HP. It is strong, but not really needed anymore since he pretty much just dies anyway. He reduced the crows by some, but not much. And then there's Amai keepsake. I mean, PvP oriented, like in other game modes, it's highly used. Just because it gives you, was it like 5% more speed, which is nice since it helps you with your speed order. But other than that, does nothing else. Then keepsake with Boros, I mean, it's like, yeah, you have keepsake helps you, and PvE, but other than that, not much. Like, because it only increases his damage a bit, but doesn't matter because he's not there to ult. And crit damage by 40% is increased, which is quite high when it first came out, but later into the game, it's not needed. I mean, with Geryu keepsake, let's say it's a bit higher. Honestly, it's not needed at all. All it does is reduce the chance of you losing energy, then increases his damage output by 150%, and also people who inherit his specialized berserk deal berserk damage by 200% of his attack, with it increasing the crit chance a bit. Other than that, not much value. Sonic keepsake, I mean, I'm kind of giving it a bit too much. I mean, it could be lower. Doesn't do much besides, doesn't even speed up. He just heals himself and does a bit more damage. Other than that, I feel like this is a bit too high. Maybe down here. Maybe like this. Yeah, that'd be a lot better. Since RMG keepsake does increase his damage, then lifesteal, it's kind of doesn't matter there. Waste of money basically now, and a waste of sacks. Then there's Bakuzan keepsake. Never thought I had to cover this guy. I mean, he's out of date by a lot. Like, him being with keepsake or without, it doesn't do much at all, since it only increases his attack by 100% more. Then instead of stacking charge with a chance of it to stack a 3rd time, it's 3 times the stack, which is very pitiful. That is a very pitiful keepsake. It's very underwhelming. Like, back then it do something, but now it's extremely underwhelming. It's not even viable to even try to use them. Like, I know they put them in the claw, but nobody's gonna pull in the claw. Like, if you pull in the claw, you're either pulling for somebody you like, or for some for some unit that's been in a hero backup stick. But even then, it's pretty much a money grab. Like, it's a waste of money to even try to attempt. I mean, you get some decent resources, but overall you don't get what you need. But I hope you guys enjoy my tier list. It is my opinion. It could be different for others. I mean, what I think is not what others think. How it is, like, I try my best to provide the best content I can and the most accurate content I can at the same time, but it's quite hard to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any critiques or criticisms or anything that I should have mentioned in the video, please leave it in the comments below. I'm not the best. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. It's how a human is. I try my best to be the most accurate and the best I can. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please leave a like and subscribe to me. It's very appreciated. We are almost headed towards 250 subscribers, which is an amazing growth to see. Trying to pump up as much content as I can with variety, not the same account reviews. When I do an account review, I try to make it interesting at least. Not provide, I mean, I know it's kind of shameful to say, but also kind of douchey at the same time. I don't want to provide lower content like mid players or lower end players. Like everybody wants to see a whale or a high tier player at best as well, because that's where the most entertaining things happen. And as well, not very much content to come from a lower end player. I know there's some, but not much at all. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I do my best to provide good content. Oh, also, I will be doing a more serious video next week. Hope you guys will enjoy it, but most people don't like facing reality. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And leave a like and subscribe and join my Discord down below. Bye.